Good morning. This is Professor Anderson with a little bit of feedback for your writing assignment number 1, rough draft. So before we begin, I wanted to share with you the first thing that I do is I just scroll through to make sure that that the student has understood the format. I have a couple questions for you with respect to that. So when I scroll through, I see you have 4 sections. You definitely have that portion right. What I want to do is show you this example that you can find under Table of Contents, Week 1 sample papers, and then read sample paper. It's called the Carroll paper. Take a look at this. That part 1 is very brief. It's really just describing the workplace and the type of communications that take place there. And then these 4 barriers are listed very briefly, just given the definition for each, and then very specific examples of communications, the inhibitor that was in play, and an analysis of why that inhibitor is labeled for that specific communication, and then the evaluation. So if we go back here, you have a description of your workplace, but I need you to be just very concrete. This is the workplace. This is how many people are there. This is where it's located. That's the first paragraph. The second paragraph is the kind of communications that take place here. The next section, identify 3 to 4. And do you notice how it's in like these bulleted forms? This is that sample paper. See how it's in these bulleted forms? They're using arrows here. Just enumerate your inhibitors in that way, giving a definition. You don't have to give a scenario. You don't have to give an example. You're simply identifying. Select 3 or 4 inhibitors and give the definition for each. And then in this section, that's where you say, a very specific example. One spring meeting, one of my colleagues said, I'm having an issue at the office with my management. The union rep is on a train job out of the state. I had this, so then the distance was it. So you want to give the distance was the inhibitor, or physical space. And then you just want to give the information, like it's very difficult for employees to meet with representatives when they're all over the place. So make sure that this is a very specific, you do need to have quotes. And the concept of using quotes was that you were identifying a very targeted communication that really took place. And then finally, give your analysis of what you would rate your communication level based on these inhibitors. So it sounds like you have a little bit of a challenge there with communication in your organization, and you've identified reasons for it happening. So what I need you to do is just, we'll look at that format and make certain that in each of these sections you're providing the appropriate information. And I look forward to reading your final copy.